Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. This is Bill Kruse with Hauk Kruse Associates. I want to thank everybody for taking some time out of their day today to join us for one of our monthly webinar series. Today, we're going to talk about how can HKA help you. It's the end of the year, and the year pretty much acts like a funnel, right? So as we get closer to the end of the year, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and those holidays, our clients try to get more and more done. Oftentimes things we've been trying to get done all year, and the funnel starts bringing everything into focus. This webinar is about, well, how can HKA be a part of your team? It's something we like to do. We like to be a part of that team. Just real quick, Catherine's on the phone as well, or on the horn. So if you've got any questions, please use the chat function, use the Q&A function on your Zoom browser, and she will make sure that she gets those questions asked. We will try and get this thing completely completed in somewhere about a half an hour. I know I always make that promise. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but this is really just a summary of, as you're going through the end of the year and working with your clients and see some issues that they may be having, how can we be a part of that team and take some of that load off of you? So quite frankly, you can get more accomplished. So one of the things we're going to start with is, what really sets HKA apart? And this is something we're really happy with. And these are kind of 4 big picture items that I really think help us begin gathering the essence of HKA as your service provider or as a teammate of yours for the FA. Timeliness. When we do a project with a client, timeliness obviously comes into play. 2 things, right? First of all, am I responding to the client timely? But the other part of it is, hey, Bill, I need you to do this project. Okay, here we're going to outline this project, put it together. Here's our timelines, all right? And commitment to those timelines. Our client service coordinators, Catherine is a client service manager. She's helping train everybody, but also then running those jobs for us, making sure we're hitting those timelines. Transparency. Are we participating in getting updates back and forth? When we do a project today, we do put it together in some sort of capsule and say, we start here with a kickoff meeting. We have updates throughout here. We need client information here. We're going to produce something here. Meetings go here. So that transparency of constantly making sure that we all know where we are is really important to the overall process. The ownership over our products, really, I can't say enough about the team here at HKA. People take it very personally that this is what we do. This is what we do for our job. We consider ourselves to be professionals. What does it mean to be a professional? And that ownership of what you do is a big deal. It's a big part of it. It also comes into things like responsiveness. So are we getting the message out as we go through? And it goes back to transparency. So owning our product, owning the responsibility of getting a quality product to our client, your client, be it a good role model in that situation, is a big part of what the HKA does. And then the last thing is upfront pricing. It takes some time, but what upfront pricing is, we don't want to send an invoice to anybody that isn't ready for the invoice or knows that it's happening. We really don't like it to send an invoice and the client go, what is this for? And so what we try to do is, regardless of the product that we're trying to offer, we set an upfront pricing. We're going to bill you here for this much money, and that covers this services. Are there out of scope things? Well, we try to state what the scope is. This is what we're going to do. And for us to do this, we need this from you, and we're going to give it to you here on this timeline. And for that, here's the upfront price. So we're going to do an engagement letter. I would say that's probably the biggest change in the last 18 to 24 months at HKA. We've gone from working into doing those engagements letters. So now we very much religiously want to get an upfront engagement letter. It just lets us, each of us, know exactly where we stand and what we're doing. And, your client, our client, is going to know very much what we're doing for them. The engagement letter will include the scope, the timeline, the information necessary to complete, the roles that each of us will play. And it really helps outline everything, and then gives us those opportunities to make sure that we're hitting that transparency goal. So that's a big part of what sets HKA apart from the rest and why we make a great teammate for you. Um, One of the things that's really kind of fun about working at HKA is how much fun we like to have. We are embracing the internet, webinars. Here I am with a webinar. Who'd have thought I'd actually be doing webinars? So we have this business planning series, and we have a couple of them here. We've got one kicking off in the next month that Jordan Cooling is going to do. It's called Small Business 101, and it really is, as we put it down in the webinar, it's a series on the fundamentals of running your small business. So each one of them, we've got the basic assumptions, which is registering your business, selecting an accounting system. We've got one of the series is on reading the financial statements. That's kind of a mystery to a lot of people. And quite frankly, each one of us has our own style. But understanding your financial statements, Jordan's going to go through, here's how we read them and how we measure something from them. So reading financial statements, setting your dashboard and your budget, man, that's something that you just can't get enough of. Understanding the importance of it, and then how do I do it? Kind of once again, a primer for how do I do this thing. Taxes. If you've heard anything from me before, it's all about after-tax cash flow. So that's a very important thing for all of our small businessmen and women. Now, the last thing is business running. What are our daily best practices? What should we be doing every day, every week, every month, and implementing those best practices? Which is a great segue into the webinar series that I will be hosting. We'll start again fresh in the spring, and it's really the year of the plan. This webinar series is about you've made the decision to take control of your business, truly take control of your business. Most of our small businessmen and women are really spending a lot of time and energy just running the business. Some of us are working on the business. Some of us are working in the business. All right. We want to transition from working in the business to working on the business. It's much more fulfilling. What you'll find in this webinar series is the different routes to attacking, why we need to figure out what our KPIs are, why it's important to understand the enterprise model and how it works in assessing the value of the business that we're creating. Each one of those bigger picture things about your business. And that's why it's called the year of the plan. In this year, 2022, man, that's the year. Let's control our business. Let's not have it control us. And in doing so, we'll live a more fruitful life and be more responsive to the wonderful people that are around us. So that's our planning series, one of our favorite things that we've been kicking off, and we want to continue to do it. We'll come out with different planning series throughout the year. See the week on December the 3rd, we've got the new legislative. As we know, Congress has recently passed a fairly significant piece of legislation. A lot of the fears with tax increases have started to subside. So we're seeing a different formation here for 2022. And that meeting, that webinar on December the 3rd will really be about that. And we'll have legislative updates throughout the year, and they are all kind of scheduled around the business planning series. The next thing we'll talk about, back to our advisory products, are the CFO services. This is our platinum service. We do have platinum, gold, and silver. The platinum CFO services, an assessment of your business. It's HKA taking ownership of helping you find your options so that you can make informed and quick decisions throughout the life cycle of your business year, quarter, whatever. And that can be KPIs, the readiness of the business to transition. What is transition? You help us define that. We're going to give you the options because different businesses have different types of transition. So CFO stuff, where we understand and know your business, help you know it, help you see it in a new life. And that will also mean monitoring. CFO can be the monitoring piece, or it can be a portion of the monitoring piece where maybe we're overseeing or teaching you how to create monitoring platforms throughout your business. It's spending a lot of time on the budget, and especially your KPIs, which are created to show that we can hit our budget. If we're not monitoring them, it's a big deal. So going through the year as a monitoring service is a little bit what CFO is. Here we are today. Where are we next month? How does next month compare to last month? How does next month compare to where we want to be? Not just for the end of the year, but in the overall horizon of our business. Okay, so that's what some of that is about. Problem solving is always coming up. If I'm having an audit and I'm thinking about going public, what problem should I be addressing? So that's what problem solving is. Or it could just be what's bothering us today. Let's get that thing fixed. So that's a platinum level of CFO services. You'll find a little bit later that we talk about, well, how do we bill people? We definitely want you to pick up the phone and call us. And that's the part about being a good team member. So the last one is individual tax planning sessions. Anytime we talk about small business, sooner or later we have to talk about our individual planning, because for me and for most of our small business men and women, it's all about after-tax cash flow. I mean, being an entrepreneur is not easy stuff. So having a plan and then having planning sessions that allow me to update them periodically to make sure that I'm hitting the goals and reaping the rewards that should be available to me if I run a good small business. So those are kind of some of our favorite advisory products. We have an entire list. I'd welcome you to ask Catherine for it, kind of as a handout or something, where we set out, these are our product lists. And then if there's anything on there that you have questions about or interested in, man, we'd love to help you. So that's our favorite advisory products. Now, what are our other accounting services? And I'm starting here with, normally you're going to hear tax, audit, and bookkeeping is kind of last. I'm going to put bookkeeping up here in the forefront because I really believe that what you're going to see with bookkeeping is a snapshot of how we like to run the whole firm, how our teammates are each one of them taking ownership of these different things. And in bookkeeping, you see these things here. Think about what your CFO is doing. If we go back to the prior slide and think about what is a premium CFO service, when we walk into a platinum CFO service and we're serving our clients, we're assessing the transparency of their accounting platform and getting them the information they need on an instantaneous basis. It shouldn't be, I need to call accounting and have a report run. It should be, there's the report. I shouldn't have to go find it. I shouldn't have to figure out how to work it. I should have it. I should have a dashboard that tells me the information I'd have available immediately. And so from a CFO, that's part of that platinum CFO service. But in our bookkeeping in general, our bookkeeping team is prepared immediately when they begin working with you on whatever it is we're doing. Maybe we're just coming in and helping reconciling. Maybe we're doing technology transition. I'm on desktop. I need to go to online so I can see my books and records everywhere, and also so I can link them. And so what that obviously leads to is there's always a back office. We can do the entire back office for your business. We can transition that business back to you. We can help you make sure that you're connected with that transparency that all small businesses needed. It just depends on what you need. And the great thing about our bookkeeping team is that that's what they do every day. When they're plugged in, they're going to start offering these things. If you did this, it would take less time. You could then have your team spending time on things that make the business money or create efficiencies within the business. So budgeting, reconciliations, and process improvement, that's all critical componentry. And so we can plug in with some of those critical componentry if you believe you're already transitioned, or maybe we create the blueprint for a technology transition and you implement it, or maybe it's the other way around. You have an idea what you want to do. More than likely, we'll take your idea, make sure that we can give you one or two options so that you've always got something to compare to, and then give you the ability to accomplish that goal. So bookkeeping really is emblematic of the HKA style, right? Which is take ownership of it and make sure however I'm working, I'm constantly improving. Am I constantly moving forward with whatever it is we're working on? Tax returns and audit are things that really, quite frankly, public accounting firms need to always be able to offer. Not a lot people do audits anymore. There's definitely a fairly high cost curve because of the peer reviews and the insurance, et cetera. We believe that it's still a very important part of our business. And so we're happy to be engaged as an auditor and drive some value from that instead of, hey, the bank requires me to have an audit, please get this knocked out. What we want to do is come forward with that audit with, well, what are our internal processes? Are there some risks there that we need to be thinking of? Are there some big picture compliance elements that we need to be aware of? Am I doing a business combination that I need to make sure I'm booking right? All that can come out of that very good audit approach. I leave tax returns for last, not because they're the least, but I leave tax returns for last because when you think about all the planning we've talked about just in this brief period of time, if it doesn't hit a tax return, it did not happen. Okay. And that's just kind of the way it is. So tax returns are a critical element in any small business plan on the whole gamut. Does the business tax return from an optics perspective tell the Internal Revenue Service exactly the message we want them? Or let's not leave forms off. Let's make sure everything's there so that the supercomputer that's looking at that computer, that tax return and gathering its own government data, right, isn't suddenly stumbling and saying, we probably ought to go look at this. We don't want that, right? So we want that optics to look right on the business return, and then also on the individual side. Most of our small businesses are pass-through entities. So we concentrate on driving profit at the business, which is then taxed at the individual level. So there's no double taxation. So we want to make sure that those tax returns are in lockstep with the planning that you've done, either through your transition, through your budgeting, or through some sort of personal planning that we talked about earlier, where we're creating a blueprint for your estate. We're creating a blueprint for you to transition your business into your family, or maybe selling the business, however it works. It's got to hit on the tax return or it didn't really work. That is one of the things that a lot of small businesses struggle with. Some small businesses say, just put the numbers on the form. Well, there's a lot of value that can be done in doing it properly. So don't second guess the importance of making sure that the tax return reflects the planning and the message you're sending to the federal government. So those are some of our other accounting services. Let's talk a little bit now about what does a small business client look like at HKA, okay? So a small business client, once again, we're looking for platinum, gold, and silver packages. That's kind of what we're going to offer to them. The platinum package is kind of what we talked about, that CFO solution. We're on call with you constantly, but we're also then working with you probably monthly, at a minimum quarterly, and driving some value through those financial statements, making sure the monitoring is happening, making sure that the KPIs are being hit, and if they're not, understanding how to tweak them or maybe create new ones. Maybe I'm trying to plug in the non-financial data. When you think about it, plugging in non-financial data may be the most important thing we do. If we can find a way to access the things that really do drive revenue. And I say this a lot, if we say my sales goal is to increase sales by 15%, that is not a KPI. That is a result of something. So increases in sales are the result of probably 3 or 4 really good KPIs, or key performance indicators. And more than likely, one of the more important ones is going to be some non-financial piece. How do I increase sales? Well, maybe I have to make more phone calls. That's not a financial number. I may have to get that from my phone system. I may have to target calls, revenue calls. So that platinum package is helping us roll those kind of opportunities throughout the year. The last package, now I'll skip over gold and I'll go into silver package. The silver package, the minimum we want to do is the next bullet point. At a minimum, 2 advisory calls a year. And we're doing your business and personal individual tax returns. That's the silver package. That's the minimum. Now, that advisory call is not, oh gosh, I only get to call Bill a couple of times a year. No. The advisory call is legitimately exactly what it is. Twice a year, we have a scheduled call to talk about where you are, where you see yourself going, and make sure that you're getting all the services that you need internally from your own team and externally from your service team. And we want to be a part of that service team. So that's the minimum that we want to do, is that 2 advisory calls per year. Those are scheduled, they are recurring, and they're critically important to make sure that what you get from your service provider teammate is what you need on a timely fashion. So the reason I skipped over gold is really gold can be a piece of, maybe it's a downstroke from platinum, or maybe it's silver on steroids, but it's in the gold where we can add different services, okay, and different levels of service that will help us, really make sure that we're driving value to you. Remember what we talked about originally is we want to make sure that you're making informed decisions, okay? And so we add these packages based on your need. We're going to add another service if you need it to give you more options to make those informed choices. So always add based on your need. And I had a great conversation with a client the other day that needs capital for their small business. And so we talked about how does HKA play in that role? We're not the Shark Tank, right? So who we are, though, is someone who can, if you're a small business and you're saying, man, I need capital to grow, I really think this product needs to go there, then we're going to begin the identification period, right? What am I identifying? I'm identifying the impacts of different elements of the business to help it grow, finding those key elements of it so that we know what we need to focus on. The next one is we're going to have to put together reporting packages. We're going to have to figure out who is the population and how do I reach them to bring that capital in. So helping devise that strategy and then implement that strategy is one of the ways that's something we could add on to an existing relationship. So a lot of different ways that we can plug into your small business. The last thing here is probably my favorite part is we're accepting all clients who are ready to go. It's part of our business process analysis is, are you ready to grow? If the answer is no, Bill, I just really want you to do the tax return. Can you really stop calling me? The fact of the matter is we want to help people and we want to serve, okay? And in doing so, and our team is created to do that. We have wonderful teammates that engage and like to engage with our clients on an ongoing basis. And so that's why we're looking for new clients that are ready to grow, that want to grow, or they at least think they want to give a shot at it, right? And those are all ages of businesses. They're young businesses, but they may be mature businesses that are ready. Maybe they're ready for a transition, and maybe they are transitioning. Well, how can we help plug in? Well, we can look at what is the contract to help us transition, or we can look at the processes when we go from management A to the new management. What are the processes that may be old legacy processes that maybe we want to update them? There's no telling, but as long as you're ready to grow, at HK, we want to bring you on we want to be one of your teammates. So the next question that always comes up is, all right, so how does this really look? I mean, how do you know if somebody's ready to grow? Well, are we identifying the pain points that you have and then fixing them, or at least giving you the options to fix them? Let's face it, in the small business world, it's not easy. You're not going to eliminate all your pain points. The important thing is let's identify them and let's address the ones that can be fixed and see if we can minimize the ones that just come with the business, right? So we're never, ever going to be able to fix them all. The key is let's make sure the ones we can address, we do. Let's fix that. Your business will be more efficient and it'll be more profitable and more fun. Let's not do this just because it's the drudgery of life. Let's be small entrepreneurial businessmen and women because we love doing it. That's why we do it. So the frustration with current processes, we see that a lot. And so if you are identifying, if you're talking to a client and you hear the same thing over and over again, there's probably a business process there or some process there that needs to be addressed. What we like to do is get laser focused on exactly what's calling and peeling back that onion to get to the heart of the matter and see if we can't fix that or at least give you options to consider. The tax return reflecting the plan. Man, I talked about that earlier. All the great planning in the world is worth nothing if it doesn't somehow show up on a tax return. Somehow it has to send the message to the Internal Revenue Service that a plan is in place and that the plan is now reflective in the tax return. So that's really important. And we do see that a lot where X, Y, and Z has occurred. And then we look at the tax return and say, well, it's not on the tax return. So guess what? Didn't really happen. So that's kind of a thing that we want to focus on. The transformation of profitability. This last one may be the most important one. And it's really, once again, it's kind of emblematic of what HK is all about. Is we're focused on helping you accomplish your goals. Well, what are your goals? Well, let's set them up. We can't accomplish them until we've actually set them up. This where a lot of people miss it on budgeting. Budgeting isn't just about making sure that I'm hitting the goal of the business from a revenue or expense review. No, budgeting is about the implementation of the transformation of profitability. We start with the budget. From the budget, then we create key performance indicators. Those key performance indicators are the precursors to knowing that we're going to hit our budget. If we achieve our key performance indicators, we will accomplish our budget, and our budget make sure that we're getting our transformation for this profitability. So these are kind of some of the elements when you talk to clients and you're hearing some of these things, especially the pain points, that HKA is ready to assist you in helping that client turn the corner, so to speak, and achieve their goals, or if nothing else, reduce their frustrations. The last thing is kind of some FAQs. And before I get into the FAQs, Catherine, do we have any questions that we need to address before we go into wrap-up mode here?
No, we don't currently have any questions.
Okay, so don't hesitate to reach out with us. I know I'm kind of moving through this pretty briskly, but the important thing to note is HKA is here. We want to be a part of your team. We want you to reach out to us and help us help your client. We're not always looking to just add a client. Our number one goal is to make sure that we've helped you, and then you then would be helping your client through us. So if we don't have that client as an ongoing client, that's okay, as long as we accomplish the goal. Maybe answer questions, maybe give them options that we already know exist for them to go fix it themselves or use their current team. As our number one goal is to make sure that we're augmenting your wagon wheel approach to serving that client. So the FAQs, do we charge for the initial consultation? Going back to that upfront pricing, I'm not sending you a bill unless you know you get it. So when we have that first consultation, and really anytime you pick up the phone and call us, I'm not sending you an invoice because I don't know if I'm doing anything for you yet. The initial consultation, though, on many of our things, projects, especially project related, are a great opportunity to make sure that we're focused on exactly what the client needs, you, the client, or your client, the client. So the initial consultation, we're still outlining what we're going to do. Absolutely not charging for those initial consultations. How do we work with clients outside of St. Louis? You know, COVID had a lot of bad things, but one of the good things that came out of COVID is it helped energize our team to understand how to work efficiently, productively, and with a culture in a remote position. So it's not an easy thing, but it is something we really enjoy doing, is proving to ourselves every day that we can work with any client anywhere in the world as long as we have internet access. Zoom has become a great tool for us. I'm sure there will be another tool coming out once Zoom saturates the market. Right now, though, it's very easy for us to work with clients outside of St. Louis. That goes back to that technology and understanding from our bookkeeping team, how do we connect with these clients and get those financial statements, leveraging that knowledge that they have. So our ability to work with clients outside of St. Louis has been proven time and again, using portals, using direct access, whatever we need to use, we figure it out. What is HKA's ideal client? Really goes back to that prior slide. Are you willing to grow? Are you ready to grow? If you want to sell your business, does that mean you're not growing? No, you are growing. A sale process is the next, right? It's the next thing. Why am I building the business? Well, maybe it's mailbox money. That's okay. Am I ready to transition to retirement? Well, that's growing. That's a type of growth. Absolutely want to help you accomplish those goals. So the ideal client for HKA is really someone who's inquisitive. Start there. I'm thinking about this. Well, let's have a conversation. Let's see if we can help you. Where do we go from here? Man, give us a call. We are ready to help out in any way we can. You see our email address and our phone number on there. I think that's the best place to start. Send us a text message, send us an email, however you want to reach out to us, whatever's comfortable for you. Our team does a really good job of monitoring their email, so we rarely have stale emails. It does happen. We all know it does, but the fact of the matter is, however you choose to get a hold of us, we're going to make sure we're reaching back out to you in a timely fashion. And that's kind of how HKA can help you out. I would encourage you to log into the next webinar, the Small Business 101 webinar with Jordan Cooling is going to be really good. And I would encourage you to do it. You know, and when I think about it from a small business man or woman perspective, maybe I have a teammate that just needs to see some of those starter courses. It doesn't have to be the business owner. It's going to be a great series, though. So what are we doing next? Small business webinar. We've got December the 3rd is out there with the new legislation. We'll be kicking off the Small Business 101 this month. Lots still going on. So give us a call. Let's get started helping each other out. Thanks a lot today. Catherine, any final comments from anybody? Any questions? I'm going to take that as a no.
No, sorry about that. Yeah, no final question.
Finding that unmute button is sometimes kind of problematic. But
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody again for joining us today. We look forward to talking to you soon. Bye now.